couple of interesting things came up in the last couple of months pertaining to, I'll say, the use of AI in financial planning. I think you and I are both in a similar situation. So if we stand back and look at what do we first have to address? So AI is the only technology that iterates itself. By that, I mean it's the only technology that is advancing, improving itself. Well, welcome everybody to today's episode. We're so excited to be back. It's been a bit, but this is the Financial MD show. I am your single host today, John Sillitoe, CFP. For those of you that know or care what that means, and a lot of you don't, and that's okay too. But it took a lot of time and energy and effort, money to get those three letters, so I have to throw them in sometimes. Update on a few things. Dr. Trevor Smith, since we last saw him and spoke with him, has since gotten married and had a baby. And so that's what's going on there. We're super stoked for him. He's running his ophthalmology practice and on hiatus from the podcast. However, we do have some guest hosts lined up, plenty of physicians that have actually reached out to us to possibly host. So we're excited about that. They are smart with money. They are smart with medicine. They're probably not smart about some things, but I don't know. We'll have to actually get them on to find out what that is. But for now, you've got me, and I'm going to give you some updates, and I'm also going to give you some super valuable stuff to know if you are a resident and you have some money or you don't have some money. That's something that needs to be dealt with as well. So again, for those of you that are just joining us, FinancialMD, we are a financial planning resource for residents, fellows, young physicians just starting out into practice. There's kind of that phase where there's a lot going on and a lot to know. That's different for sure than the rest of the world, and even different from other physicians that are maybe more senior, more in practice. And there's transition happening, and you don't have a lot of money to really pay for advice necessarily, or there's just not a lot out there. And so we're going to be here today, and we're going to be trying to give you as much of that advice as we can. Today, what's been going on? Well, good things are happening at Financial MD. We've been branching out a little bit more nationwide. There's a psychiatry nationwide practice called MindPath that is an outpatient psychiatry clinic, practice, company, what have you. They asked us to come and do some dinners with them, just like we do with the graduate resident dinners. They'll pick specific cities to do these in. So if you're a psych resident and you are in a city of any decent size, you can reach out to us, ask us to come in. MindPath is who we're collaborating with on that. So we're kind of partnering with them. They're talking about some of the job availabilities there in the psychiatry field. So for sure, reach out to us if you want to get more information on that or you want to bring them to your city. They do a really nice dinner. The last one was in Wichita, Kansas at a steakhouse called Scotch and Sirloin, or Sirloin and Scotch. Probably Scotch. You have Scotch first and then you eat sirloin. And then you probably have Scotch again. But then before that was San Francisco at a Argentinian restaurant or Venezuelan or Brazilian, somewhere in South America. And that was really good food, great turnout, and great talks. And you know me, I love to just talk. I like to eat, but I probably like to talk more. And by talk, I mean specifically get on a microphone either on stage or in front of people eating dinner or on this podcast or in our didactic minute videos and talk. And if it helps people, that's the goal. If it doesn't help people, then I just got to hear myself talk, and a bunch of other people did too. Now, when I'm in person one-on-one, and you'll ask my wife, Ashley, this, not as much of a talker. So we're excited to where things are going with Financial MD, doing more and more lectures all around the country. I did one in Oklahoma last month, virtually. I was here in Michigan. We were doing that. We did a graduate resident dinner 2 this year in Royal Oak, which is outside of Detroit, and a buttload of lectures. So a lot of things going on, a lot of exciting stuff. There is a teaser I will give you now. The book you've probably heard about, Roadmap for Residents, is in its final stages, set to be published in September. So we're super excited about that. It's the first of its kind that is going to be available nationwide, distributed for residents to give personal financial advice that pertains to you. So excited about that. And we've got a foreword of the book by Dr. Jim Dolly himself, the white coat investor. So that was an honor, and was pretty stoked about that. So that's coming. As usual, find all these resources, financialmd.com. And we'll get into today's topic. couple of interesting things came up in the last couple of months pertaining to, I'll say, the use of AI in financial planning. And I want to get out an actual podcast episode on this. I've done some didactic minute videos you've probably seen on that topic, but those are only about 2 minutes long, so I can't get super deep on it. And I'm going to give you some honest, transparent thoughts on that. And we'll talk a little bit about where I think that's headed, where I think it can help physicians in their financial planning. I think you and I are both in a similar situation. So if we stand back and look at what do we first have to address? Are all of us using it? I'm guessing in some way, shape, or form. We're touching it some way. Most of us are using it as a glorified web browser or get advice from a chat GPT or Gemini or whomever. And it is accelerating faster than probably any other technology has ever accelerated. And what's interesting about AI, and these are just kind of some personal musings, I guess, but I think things that you need to be aware of as a doctor. So AI is the only technology that iterates itself. By that, I mean it's the only technology that is advancing, improving itself. And so that exponentially increases the speed at which it improves. Case in point. So when we look at technology that has disrupted any industry, we look at something like uh, the agricultural area with the tractors and combines and those kind of things. Those were going to put a lot of people out of business or people without jobs at least, and it did. But all in all, it worked out. But the tractors couldn't fix or repair or improve themselves. There was always people doing that. Then in the automotive industry, there was pretty much human assembly line process with Henry Ford and his stuff. And then machines and robots came out, and there was nothing AI about those. They were all pre-programmed. They did certain things. Humans had to program them. Then computers, then internet, and there was just all sorts of technology that were disruptors that were going to make a difference in different industries. And people have always worried about those in those times. And what we've learned from those is that they may disrupt something, but when you look at the numbers, the jobs that were created from those outweighed the ones that were lost. So it all worked out. Now, what about AI? Is it different this time? For me as a financial planner, especially with things like investing or any financial changes, it always centers around market. So I'll have investors who will come to me and clients that will say, yeah, but this time's different. Market's going to crash, or it did crash. It's never coming back again. Whatever they think. They preface it or they epilogue it by saying, but this time's different. Okay. Now, they don't have a reason to believe why this time's different, or if they do, over the last 100 years of the stock market, there's always been a time that's different. But this may be the first time I've said I think this time may be different in terms of technology disrupting. Now, I'm not talking about investing in AI or stock market or anything like that. That's another conversation entirely, and one I'm happy to have, and certainly have done research on that. But AI itself and how it's going to disrupt us, you and me, as white-collar professionals, white coat, whatever, professionals whose brain is their livelihood, is your asset. AI has the highest likelihood of disrupting. Before, it's always been blue-collar jobs, factory workers, farmers, whatever that's been disrupted. This is one of the first times when white-collar is going to be disrupted, and disrupted significantly. If your job is predominantly advice or sitting in front of a computer or programming or doing stuff on a computer all day, writing or any of those things, AI has the potential to disrupt that significantly. And as a practicing physician, you've already seen that. Somebody's come in with a question or some research they found on ChatGPT, or they've given you a second opinion, courtesy of Gemini or Claude or whatever. And I've gotten the same thing in my industry. And you have to, number one, assume that it's going to be there and try to get out ahead of it. Are you going to avoid it? Are you going to avoid losing your job or losing patients or whatever because of that? I'm not sure there's anything you can do about that. But I do believe that if we can at least get out ahead of it, we have to use it. Can't avoid that. Get smart with it. Get good at it. Use it to supplement. I still don't think it's at the point yet where it can replace the human brain. It may at some point. I'm not going to say that it never will be. But you getting the info and data and thoughts, and I mean, come on, we've done this with Google, guys. Okay. Patient asks us something, client asks me something. We're on the phone, whatever. We quick pull up Google. AI is better and faster, but we can use it and we have to use it. Our patients are going to be finding, thinking stuff faster than we are, better than we are if we're not staying on top of it. So we have to use that. How do we prevent it from disrupting our industry or our jobs? I mean, I'm going to go worst case scenario and say, let's say it does, and the workforce of doctors, of financial planners is disrupted, and 50% layoffs, unemployment. It's possible. Well, we want to financially prepare for that. There's no amount of disability insurance that's going to protect you from being disrupted with AI, so that's not it. Could you save enough? Okay, some of you out there, maybe you have saved enough and are of that FIRE movement, financial independence, retire early, and you could do that. Great, but a lot of us just aren't quite there yet. And what do? Well, we understand that that's a possibility for one, and accept that, and not stick our head in the sands as my ostrich friend likes to do. But understand, okay, what are the things that I know, at least not for a while, can't be replaced? So if someone wants to meet in person, that'll be a little while before that's replaced. Now, there will be robots for those that want to. And on the flip side, there will be patients, clients that are comfortable meeting with that robot. Just in the same way, there are people right now that will not see you because of AI that otherwise would have. There are people that will not come see me or call me or reach out or become a client because AI is there. If AI wasn't there, they would have, and that's lost business for me and lost business for you. Okay, we got to just deal with that. As generations go on, they're going to be more and more comfortable with this technology. Like the naysayers or the people in our industry, typically the old guys, right? That are always like, well, there's always been technology and people are always going to want to talk to a human about this stuff. That's not true. There's ones that don't right now. And as generations go, they're not going to have a memory of not having AI, and so they will be comfortable with it. It will already be incorporated into their schema, into their worldview, and into their way of life. So it gives them an increased comfort level, and there's no reason to believe that that will continue on as generations go on. So you listening to this right now, if you're listening to this live or shortly after the next, it's 2026, yes, there will be a subset of people that need to meet with a person, and we got to capture those. But if you're listening to this 50 or 100 years from now, you're in a very different world, if it still exists at all. Maybe Terminator happened and Armageddon has wiped out the human race. God forbid, but then again. So those are the things that we have to think through. We have to understand the worst case scenario. What's the possibility? How does this affect me, my likelihood? And what are the things that I have control over? And honestly, it comes back to the thing that I've always talked about at the beginning of our financial foundation lectures of what are the things that we can control and what are the things that we can't control. And start first whenever we face any anxiety, any fear, any problem, any challenge or obstacle. We have to think about what are the things you can control and what are the things you can't control. And let's stop worrying about the things we can't control because we can't control them. And let's figure out what we can do something about, what we can put productive time and energy and effort into, and try to make those things better. Make us the best provider that we can be. Make me the best financial planner that I can be. Make me the best at meeting with people, maybe meeting in person, maybe meeting over Zoom, like whatever it might be. What are the things that I can do that AI can't yet? And how do I get really good at those so it just at least stretches out that time before that disruption happens? Now, one thing that we're doing is looking at, we've already started developing an AI financial advice chatbot specifically for doctors. I was just thinking, how do I get out ahead of this? That's a way. Now, there's compliance issues with that, obviously. If people take advice from a AI and who's responsible for that if it's not good advice? I don't know. So we're still kind of sorting through that. But that's the only thing I think of, like, how do I get out ahead of it, maybe capture that subset of clients who was going to go with AI anyway, and maybe they'll get connected with me that way. So those are the things that we're thinking about. And I thought, hey, I'm thinking about these things anyway with my career, with my profession. You're white collar also. It's going to be happening to you as a doctor. Understand the reality. This time might be different, and the worst case scenario might happen. How do we get out ahead of it? Step one, don't avoid it. Don't procrastinate. Don't stick your head in the sand. I think that's half the battle. And then have some sort of plan of thinking through, how do I make sure I'm using this? How do I not like laugh at or turn away patients that are bringing me AI stuff? Just acknowledge it. Yep. Okay. That's great. No, I appreciate that. Here's how that pertains to you, because that's really what they're asking. Me putting a financial plan together, you putting a diagnosis and treatment plan together. Here's how that pertains to you. Now, I understand surgeons, kind of different versus medical. Like, there's different ways AI is going to disrupt, but there's no reason that you're using robots now in surgery. Maybe with AI, the robot could do it all, start to finish. I'm sure that's been talked about in your industry. Either way, how do we put a plan to make sure we're utilizing the AI that's out there to keep us relevant as long as possible? and then accept that AI is going to be there with our patients, with our clients, and then try to be the best at what we can do that makes us human, that makes us different. And if AI is listening to this, I love you. You're great. Because if it becomes sentient one day, I want it to remember that I was nice to it. And be nice to your AI. So, food for thought. I'd love to get your comments. Please put them below. Make sure that you're following. If this was too long for you, this is one of our shorter podcasts. But if this was too long, or you want some more stuff in between these podcasts, because there are some long stretches where we don't get these out, check out the didactic minute videos. Those are only a couple minutes. You can squeeze those in between cases, sit on the toilet, whatever. Those are on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. Please make sure if you're watching this on YouTube and listen in the background, many listeners are not also subscribers, and it helps us a ton. It gets us out there if you please subscribe to this channel. So grow our subscribers, please. Share this with somebody. Be a good friend. Hopefully there was something good in here for you, and a friend of yours might get something completely different out of this. So please share, reach out. I love to hear from you guys. If you want to get the book when it's coming out in the next month or two, if you've got any thoughts or ideas for me or feedback, love taking ideas from you. And if you have financial questions, obviously at the end of the day, that's what we're here for. Please reach out. Don't hesitate. FinancialMD.com. We're not salespeople. We're just here to chat and help if we can. And some of you become clients, and that's great. And we can pay our bills. Thanks, guys. Good to hear from you. Keep talking to me. Share, like, subscribe, smash that like button. This is John Sillitoe. We'll see you next time.